Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Today I'm going to introduce you to a series it's called the Hyper Neck Study. This was something I created when I was teaching at Musicians Institute, and let me give you a little backstory. Hopefully it'll give you the why. Why should I practice this? Part of my job at MI was to audition incoming students, and a lot of students who were quite good players, had some good ideas such. They were limited because they didn't really know the notes on their fingerboard. During the audition, I'd ask them to play off of a certain note, and I could see them kind of freaking out and counting up, trying to figure out what I was asking for. And it's really one of the most attainable skills or knowledge bases that you can get is where the notes are. If you don't experiment with alternate tunings, the notes are always the same. They're always going to be where you left them. So how did I wanted to teach this to students and give it to students who were coming in so they could prepare better for their classes by already knowing the fingerboard. I realized that most of us will learn the fingerboard through like scale patterns. But what happens is we have a tendency to learn the first note's name and then just play the pattern from memory. We don't really know quickly what the other notes are. So I thought, well, what if I break away from that? What if I isolate 1 and 2 strings and work up and down the neck instead of across it? And so I created this series, and honestly, I practiced it every day for several years because and I'm going to walk you through this with video installments, but you can tweak the lesson, and tweak the lesson, always making it more comprehensive, giving you more familiarity with all the accidentals on the fingerboard. So, well, let's just get right into it. I think this will be a lesson hopefully you'll really identify with. So, the first thing you have to do is understand, oh, by the way, this is Raina. Hi, Raina. Okay, she's wants a little attention right now, but I'm focused on you guys. So, first thing, before we can get going into the hyperneck study, is understanding the musical alphabet. And if you haven't been taught this before, it's very simple. And if you have, it's a good refresher. So as you guys know, our alphabet goes from A to G. And what's important to realize is what notes are separated by a whole step and what notes are separated by a half step. Now remember, a whole step is 2 frets. So from C to D, that's a whole step. From B to C, that's a half step. So there's only 2 times this occurs between the notes B and C and E and F. So if you know that information, you can actually start unlocking the fingerboard in a new way. I do encourage you, if you're a Patreon subscriber to Everything Bass, to download the sheet that comes with this, because I think it's really helpful to kind of remind you what I'm talking about when we step away from the videos and you're going to go and practice on your own. It'll probably be good to have that to remind you all the things I'm talking about today. So this exercise is going to be limited to the D and the G string. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on natural notes first, notes that aren't sharped or flats, so no accidentals. Because if we know where all the natural notes are, we really do know where the sharps and flats are, but I will create exercises that will include them, don't worry. So here are the parameters of this. If you think of it as a game, here's the rules of the game. First of all, we're going to play the lowest frettable note in pitch on the D string that's natural. So we're not going to play open D because that's not frettable. So we're going to play the E, and we're going to play the 3 natural notes from that. So we're going to go E, F, G. Now here's that E, F. So E, F separated always by a half step, F, G. Then we go to the next string, we play the lowest frettable note, A, and play B, C. Now what's nice about this is it's in the concept of our musical alphabet, it's alphabetical. E, F, G goes back to A, B, C. So just practice that. I should point out here, the highest, if you want to get this under your fingernails right away and retain it, say the notes while you play it. And don't put any kind of like tempo or metronome. That's ridiculous. We're just trying to memorize the notes. We're not working out anything else. So for this time, just say the notes as you play them. So say E, F, G, A, B, C. So that is the first measure. Then we go up to the next note higher in pitch that's natural, in this case the F. Now F and G, so whole step, G and A, whole step, B to C, half step, C to D. So we've got F, G, A, B, C, D. So just combining those two, we have, all right? So then we're going to go to the next frettable note, G, and we're going to play, these are all whole steps, G, A, B. Then we go to the next string, C, D, E. And that's a little bit of a stretch. If you're newer to the bass, don't hesitate to like play the first note, then shift your hand up, go shift back to the C, then shift your hand up. What I don't want to see is one finger. Don't do that. That's not really going to help you as much as you might think. It's really good to get used to using multiple fingers. You can kind of see where we're going here. Is then we go up to the A and go A, B, C. Remember B and C, half step. D, E, F. E and F, half step. So then we go up to the B, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on and so forth. I believe I take it up on the sheet music all the way to the C. So great exercise to practice. Just practice this much, just on these two strings right now. Now what's kind of cool, I didn't write this down, maybe I'll add it before I post the sheet up on my Patreon, but you can play it backwards. Now what's cool about this, we have a natural memory to saying the alphabet forwards, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's difficult to say it backwards. It doesn't roll off the tongue, G, F, E, D. So the neck actually helps us in this case. Like if I'm playing the C, in my mind I know the B is a half step, so I'm going to go C, B, before B is A, then I'm going to go G, F, E. So it really kind of reinforces the fingerboard knowledge. You're using the fingerboard to remind you how to say the alphabet backwards, is basically it. So add this to your practice routine. I recommend adding it first. Like when you first sit down, try doing this just for a minute, just the two strings. There'll be a unit 2, which goes on to be a little different. Unit 3 goes on to be different. And honestly, I foresee this series going for 20, maybe 30 units where I show you how to apply it to different keys, different sets of strings. On one string, that's a cool one that helps you whether you're shifting. It really improved my fingerboard knowledge, but it did a lot more than that. It improved my ability to shift to a focused point on the fingerboard, not overshoot it, not undershoot it. Made my playing really clean. So it's just really important. And if you're watching this video and you have plans to go on to further education, go into a music university or conservatory, definitely the one thing you can walk in there with confidence is that you know what the notes of your fingerboard, and that will make everything so much easier. So don't blow by this because it's maybe not a fancy lick or anything. It's such foundational knowledge to you becoming a successful bass player. All right, so enough of that. Hyperneck study, add it to your practice schedules. Comment, let me know what you think about it. Realize I give you a very small piece of it because I want to break it into sections so it's something you can work on, and then the next one's going to be a little harder, next one's a little harder, and so we'll grow it that way. So be patient with the process, but right now let me know what you think about just this Unit 1 and how it worked out for you. If you have any questions or run into any weird stumbling blocks, comment below or send me an email at dtitus@daletitus.com. I look forward to kind of seeing what you guys think about this. It really helped a lot of students at Musicians Institute and a lot of my private students, and I believe it's going to help you too. So, encore item for today. I've done a lot of the encore items. I've done recordings of some of just the great bass masters in funk and fusion and jazz, but I'm a metalhead. Honestly, from my inception as a bass player, first album I ever learned to play the songs on was Iron Maiden Killers. And that's where I realized, wow, I actually have a natural feel for this instrument. It's something that resonated with me, and I'm glad I did. If you're not familiar with some of the iconic bass players of heavy metal, and maybe you just didn't, metal's not my bag, it's still important to check out, to listen, because I know a lot of guys in the jazz world, in the funk world, that are influenced by bass players like Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. I could do any Black Sabbath albums, pretty much any Black Sabbath album, and show you how it influenced my playing. But if you're new and maybe you've been turned off by the name or some of the weird stories you might hear online, which honestly most aren't true. The first dive in to give you a really good, kind of perspective of what Black Sabbath has done for music is to check out this collection. It's Symptom of the Universe, 1970 to 1978. So it's basically the original Black Sabbath, a collection of their best songs, really deep. I mean, it's 2 discs. There's so much stuff on here. And give it a listen to. Geezer was, and is, just such a vital component to heavy metal. He added a new element to hard rock bass playing, a style. There was just such a cool vibe. I'm struggling with the words because I'm not sure which adjectives to use. I mean, at times his bass lines were just powerful. I mean, and they just kind of like spoke to that animal within you. And sometimes they're like slinky, and he used overdrive and a little bit of wah and was, did some really cool things. And he basically inspired multiple generations of hard rock bass players and heavy metal bass players. So check it out. It's also a great disc to work out to. If you're going to the gym, man, check it out. Throw it on your earbuds and crank up the machines and go for it, because, man, I tell you, Sabbath is just pure energy, and I really love Geezer's playing. Geezer is also a lyric writer for the band, which was really cool to see him contributing more into the band and write some really iconic imagery with his lyrics. So anyway, check out Black Sabbath, Symptoms in the Universe, their collection, the original Black Sabbath. And again, maybe you're new to metal and you've been a little timid to go into it. I think you'll find it's a really deep and rich genre and has a lot of power and passion. I love, even when I play other styles of music, even when I play church worship music, there's sometimes the intensity that I learned through learning Black Sabbath songs I can convey to other genres and really put a passion in that I hear with bands like Black Sabbath. All right, so there you have it. Hyperneck Study, Unit 1, Encore item, Black Sabbath, the early years. So I just hope this helps you. I really want to connect with you. I really want to get a dialogue going with you, so please use the comments or use my email address. Let's kind of get a conversation going. How's Hyperneck Study working for you? Be on the lookout. There'll be multiple installments after this, and each one's going to be a variation. So it'll be similar. So the learning curve will be a lot easier, but it'll challenge you in little small steps so that you'll get better and better, and you'll know your fingerboard more and more. Hey, if you like this video, please hit the like. It really helps grow the channel and get more attention to the channel so we can get a really big community going here. I would love to have just a rich reserve of different ideas and concepts that we could all share with each other. I'm just the starting point with these videos. I'm really looking forward to where it can go after this, or through this process, really. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the video, to the channel, just subscribe below and hit the little bell icon so you'll be notified when I post more. I'll mostly be posting on Saturdays and Sundays, so look for them. My concept here is that overall you'll have this lexicon of small videos that might be able to, if you're not able to take private lessons because of your schedule or because of your finances or whatever it might be, I really want this to be like a private lesson. I have a concept I'm working with where I'll post on my Patreon to the subscribers there like a suggested order. Like, check these videos out first, then check these videos out, so you guys can get at least an idea of my concept of how you might want to practice these. But anyway, you can do it your way too, of course. We're all different, we all learn differently. But the point is, we all can do this. Music is not some mystical art that's only given to the chosen few. We all can do this, and we all can learn from each other. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day.